Don't freak out over your college application essays. I promise I could help you. I hope my credentials assure you that it's worth a few minutes of your time to watch this. If nothing else, keep in mind I'm the only essay expert asked to speak at the National College Fair at Nassau Coliseum. That's right, I'm playing the Coliseum, me and Spartacus. This is Spartacus. He can't help you. This is me. I believe I can. So, why are the essays now more important than ever? Well, I'm going to talk about the Ivy Leagues, but this really does apply to any and all colleges. In 2010, 27,000 students applied to Yale. In 2011, 28,000. Notice the numbers are going up. However, both years they only accepted 2,100. So more people are applying, but they're staying consistent with who they or how many they accept. Harvard turned down 500 students last year with perfect SAT scores. So, what is the purpose of the essay? They want to know who you are as a person, what you are passionate about, how you will fit into their community, what makes you unique and an individual. So, here are the top 5 mistakes students make. Actually, there's 6 or 7. I threw in a few for good luck. Academic accomplishment. Think about the friends you hang out with, the people that you take classes with. Like-minded people hang out together, birds of a feather. So the colleges you're applying to, the people that are applying to the same colleges have similar classes, similar grades, similar test scores, similar extracurricular activities, president of club, class president, swim team, violin, yearbook, mathletes, community service. And I guarantee you, somewhere out there, there are people screaming right now, looking at this, going, oh my God, that's my transcript. Also, it's become a little wacky out there. In the past, it was enough to say you did community service. It's become so ridiculously competitive. There are some kids starting their own foundations. In the past, it was enough to be the soccer team goalie. Now you're competing against the Olympic gold medalist goalie. In the past, it was enough to be on the mathletes team. Now you have students who solve Fermat's last theorem. It was enough to say, look at me, how wonderful I am. I gave blood. Now you have students saying, look at me, look how wonderful I am. I gave a kidney. The admissions officer is sitting with your resume and your transcripts right in front of him. He sees all your academic classes. He sees how studious you are. He sees your grades. There's no point of being repetitive, being redundant, telling him all of it again in an essay. Another problem is trying too hard to appear intellectual. The thesaurus is not necessarily your friend. Words like plethora or myriad are, at this point, kind of cliche and definitely pretentious. Now, the Common App no longer requires that you write about literature, which we'll talk about later, but you might find a supplement and they ask you about books. Don't think you have to write about Shakespeare because that's what they want to hear when in fact you love the Twilight series. Of course, if you write about 50 Shades of Grey, I think you have other issues to deal with. You might want to see a therapist. Look, there are a lot of sleeping pills out there. Your essay need not be one of them. Okay? What's important is your personality, the sentence length, the uniqueness in perspective that makes this you. Here's a very quick English lesson. Okay, denotation is the dictionary definition of a word. Connotation is the emotional response. Group and mob have the same denotation, the same dictionary definition, but very different connotations. Hey, Ma, there's a group hanging on the front lawn. I'm going to say hello. Hey, Ma, there's a mob hanging on the front lawn. I'm going to say hello. Okay, so word choice is very important. Don't be negative. I worked with a wonderful girl who was Muslim who wrote about a post 9/11 world in which Muslims, or she felt as a Muslim, prejudice and etc. The initial draft was very negative. She had expressions like face the same abuse, soiled Muslim image, erase the grime, a religion with a tarnished image. By the time we finished it, we ended up with a final product. The content didn't change, the message didn't change, but the tone totally changed. Perceptions can be changed with honesty, patience, and education. Misguided information, diffuse myths and assumptions with a smile and understanding demeanor. Supportive friends from all backgrounds who believe in tolerance. Okay, another problem is trying too hard to appear creative. This is one of the main reasons they took away from the Common App the one on Write Your Own topic. They were tired of reading, my life is like the phases of the moon, other ridiculous, pretentious, obnoxious, and annoying essays where you just want to smack somebody. Okay, this is actually 1,000 examples. This is just one of them. It was a cold and dreary night when I first arrived in London. I could hear the faint whispers of the bard himself beckoning me to the Globe Theatre. It's cliche, it's pretentious, it doesn't tell me anything about you as a person. Taking the generic approach or using cliches. I'm hardworking, ambitious, and driven. You better be. You're applying to a really good school. I love to be challenged. Same thing. This one is my favorite. My peers often look at me for leadership. If everybody's a leader, who's going to be the soldiers? Who's going to do the grunt work? Who in the club is going to be, in the trenches if everybody's going to be the leader? My grandfather's death made me want to be a doctor. I want to make a difference in the world. Avoid cliches like the plague. All right, not understanding the true point of the essay. Basically, what makes you unique and not like every other student who is applying. And here's the kicker, you forget that you are unique. You didn't have to be abducted by aliens to have a story. Who are you as a citizen, a sibling, a son, a daughter, a social animal, a human being? All right. So while the admissions people read your essays, they're also reading between the lines, the subtext. They're trying to figure out certain things about you. Is this student independent yet a team player? Is this student an introvert or extrovert? Shy is okay, reclusive is probably a red flag. A misanthrope, you'll be fine, you'll have a show on Fox News. Does this student seem to have a sense of humor? Will the student handle failure or rejection well? Will the student add to the community? And what are her personal beliefs? The admissions person isn't sitting with a checklist, and you don't have to respond to all of these. But the point is, the admissions officer is trying to get an idea about who you are as a person. I use this slide. If you look at this tree, if you look at it very carefully, you'll notice there's lots and lots of faces. The more you look at it, the more faces you'll discover. They're hidden in plain sight, and so is your story. Your uniqueness isn't some abstract concept or something that happened once when you were 11. It's who you are. Your stories right now. I know it sounds like Oprah or Kumbaya, but who you are, your uniqueness is right there in plain sight. All right, another big problem is not reading the school's website. All right, you're going to read the website, you're going to find out stuff about the school, but how it applies to you specifically. Writing that you want to go to NYU because it's in New York City is silly. There are over 80 colleges in New York. You might as well be going to the College of Hair Follicle Restoration. It doesn't tell me why it's NYU. The fact that 80% of a faculty are Nobel Prize winners is amazing, but how does that affect you personally? Well, I want to take classes with Dr. Quackenbush. Why? I don't know. I just want to walk around campus saying, it's time for Quackenbush. There are 300 clubs. Great factoid, but again, how does that apply to you specifically? I want to be part of the Rotary Phone Reenactment Society. And why? They have internships in northern Mongolia. It's very exciting for you because you love yaks. And again, why do you love yaks? Don't cut and paste. Don't plagiarize. There's no, this is your college application. Plagiarizing, not a good idea. Unless if you do an essay about cloning, is it plagiarism? No, that's for a whole other conversation. Okay, cliches from the website. This is one of my favorites. I have a lot of examples like these. This is a young lady who was applying to obviously a nursing program. Where else can you gain clinical exposure in sophomore year with access to world-class hospitals such as the Children's Hospital of Pennsylvania? Where else do you have the opportunity to engage in real-world research like at Life and improve quality of elder care? This is wonderful if she worked in the public relations department of the college. It sounds like she's writing a press release for prospective students. On top of which, by the way, it was time to leave out questions in an essay when you were in the eighth grade. Aside from that, there's nothing. This could be anybody. This tells me nothing about this person as an individual. It's all about having a unique perspective. Okay, I said before not to write about academics. You can, you could basically write about anything if it's from a very unique perspective. It's okay to fail. It's okay to follow how I discovered my love of science when all I really wanted to do was impress a girl. Here's a great example. This was typical science geek. She's wonderful. She's smart. She's funny, but everything is science. For an essay on extracurricular activities, she wrote about going to the Science Olympiad. But as you can see, it's there's nothing in here about her. It was the morning of the Science Olympiad competition, and 20 science nerdlings, as we were called, were all scrambling to get on the bus. Our chief commander and club advisor, Mr. Bergen, was shouting orders. The robot arm was missing. My partner and I were trying to fix the string of our mousetrap vehicle that was refusing to cooperate. After talking to her for some time, I found out that actually the most fun that she had was the bus ride. So her final essay was about the bus ride, about why the bus ride was special to this Science Olympiad. No one is allowed to study for tests or do homework. Cell phones are turned off. We all just tease each other, laugh at dumb jokes, and sing silly songs and limericks. We eat from a 2-gallon sized container of pretzels and probably talk too loud. It's the one time during the school day that we are not students or science and tech nerds. We are just teens. I get to experience my teammates outside of academics where we all feel safe enough to be goofy. The bus ride always ends too soon and we return to our game faces. First, however, despite a warning from our advisor, we open the emergency exit at the back of the bus and leap out together. This was brilliant. On again, her transcript, her resume point to her love of engineering, science, robotics. But this talks about her as a teenager. She knows when to work, she knows when to play. And that's what's so great about this. Okay, they changed them all. I'm so happy that the common apps have changed. They've gotten rid of the ones that were just wasted, the ones like pick your own subject. I love the one, the person you admire most. That was filled with so many problems. You write about your great grandfather who was a circus clown, a spy, and received his PhD. Terrific. He's not applying to college. You are. Take a look at the highlighted parts. Students have a background or story that is so central to their identity. Incident or time when you experienced failure. You challenged a belief or idea. Environment where you feel perfectly content. A time that marked your transition from childhood to adulthood. Basically, they're pinpointing what we've been talking about for the last 14 and a half minutes. Who are you as a person? Okay, so you write your essay, you're going to show it to this year's English teacher, last year's English teacher, maybe your uncle whose last name is Mr. English. But the problem is this. Here's an old writer's joke. How many writers does it take to change a light bulb? Does it have to be a light bulb? Too many people, too many opinions. It's going to all be too confusing. Only show it to a select few. Don't stress out. Don't assume that if you don't get into that number one school, your life is over. I know many, many, many students who got into their second, even third choice and loved it there. I also know students that got into their first choice and ended up not liking it. Remember, last time I checked, there are no barbed wire gates and fences around colleges. You could always transfer. But the bottom line is this: wherever you end up, you will have a great time. There is no one right college. I don't want to call myself an expert because to me, it's an expert's just a putz from out of town with a PowerPoint presentation. But I do think I could help. A man with a machete carves a path through the jungle, cutting away at the thick and tenacious foliage. Hour after hour, he hacks and slices in the intense heat with no time to rest and with little water. Meanwhile, another man climbs high into a tree to survey the jungle. He looks around and then yells down to the man with the machete, "Wrong jungle." Don't be the guy or girl hacking away in the wrong jungle. I can guide you to the right place. The idea is to set yourself apart. A powerful first impression only happens once. Please check out my website, rightocollege.com. You could read about my services, plus discover additional free information. I offer free phone consultations. Although I'm based in New York, I have clients from Maine to California. All the work is done via email and the telephone. If you are in the New York, New Jersey, or Connecticut area, you could find out if I'm speaking at a PTA or a library near you. And I sincerely wish the best of luck to each and every one of you.